Hello, Fort Belvoir. Welcome to Belvoir in the Know, the only podcast created especially for the Fort Belvoir community to help you stay in the know on the go. I'm Command Sergeant Major Greg Kleinholz, the Fort Belvoir Garrison Command Sergeant Major.
And I'm Colonel Josh Seagraves, the Fort Belvoir Garrison Commander. So today we're discussing changes to management at the villages of Fort Belvoir. Belvoir's privatized housing has recently switched management as the Michaels organization recently bought the villages at Belvoir from Clark Realty. On Fort Belvoir, we have about 2,093 homes with an additional 52 in the construction phase in Doe Creek and Woodlawn villages. And the villages at Belvoir are about 97% occupied. So today, special guest, Mr. Zach Allen. Zach's the project director for the villages of Belvoir, and he's been working in property management for about 20 years, with most of that time spent on privatized military housing. So Zach, welcome, and thanks for being here today. Can you just start by telling us a little bit about the Michaels organization and its recent changes?
Absolutely, and thank you for having me, Colonel Seagraves and CSM Kleinholz. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about Michaels. So Michaels organization has been around for about 50 years now. We have student and affordable and military housing. We've been in military housing since about 2006. We truly believe that our communities are created to be a launching pad for individuals and families to elevate themselves to the next level. And our mission is to lift lives in our communities through compassion, service, and connection.
Hey, Zach, great to see you and great to have you on board. Can you explain what the residents should expect under the new management?
Absolutely, sir. So first and foremost, full implementation of all of the 18 Tenant Bill of Rights. Specifically, a sticking point in the past that we've agreed to implement is the 7-year work order history and the formal dispute resolution process. Prior to Fort Belvoir being acquired by Michaels, the housing being acquired by Michaels, we were just the property manager of the homes. And at times it allowed us, it kept us from making speedy decisions. And we sometimes had to forego the ability to make efficient decisions to agree on a way forward with the owner at the time. This in turn negatively impacted the residents. So in an effort to maximize and streamline the decision-making progress, I was brought on as the project director.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good summary. Zach, so you talk about streamline, which is really important in most aspects of the garrison, but particularly within the realm of housing. So can you talk about how disputes and resolutions are streamlined?
Absolutely. So we streamlining in so much as me being a part of it is that I get very involved. I reach out to the residents directly, and there's a number of situations recently where I've been able to make a decision in the moment where residents would have been waiting for multiple approvals and reviews before. But operationally and in dispute situations day to day, the residents can expect a much faster answer because you and I have a good working relationship, as do I and the CSM, as well as the senior leadership at Michaels. So faster answers overall.
Yeah, Zach, I think that empowerment is a really big aspect uh, in which over the last year that we worked together, and especially now in the new role, I think that the housing has gotten better over that time. So, what is lifting lives?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. That's our company motto, as well as it's what we try to bring to the residents when we have interactions with them and the experience that they have. We've listened to the feedback through various survey channels, right? The annual resident satisfaction survey, all of the work order and touch point surveys residents receive. And then we had focus groups as well after the transition and invited residents who volunteered to come in and talk directly with myself and our regional vice president one-on-one. Some of the largest concerns we heard were about landscaping, delay in maintenance requests, and overall customer service in our general interactions day to day. I can assure you that we are and will continue to act upon each and every one of these.
Yeah, I think that the landscaping is sort of a common complaint. I'm not sure that, I mean, other than the drainage that you guys worked on and that we're working on in 22 and 23, I'm not sure that any of it's life, health, safety, but it's just about overall quality of life, right? It's about sort of the resident experience, like you guys often talk about. So, if we think specifically about landscaping, how do you plan to sort of streamline that and just clean up that process for Fort Belvoir?
So December 1st, we brought on a new landscape vendor. They are a national contractor that has contracts with the National Harbor, with the Parks and Rec Service at the national level. Brightview is their name. And they have the manpower and the stability to, have the response that we need and maintain, because it's a huge site, it's a huge undertaking, and they've got the ability and experience to properly maintain the grounds to the level of the residents' expectation.
Yes, I think the actions of the Michaels organization in this area and in others is showing that your organization is, taking a proactive approach to handle the problems we have, but also looking forward. So thanks. So Zach, what are you most looking forward to in your new role in that Belvoir?
I really look forward to, meeting and building relationships with the residents. We had that playground naming ceremony recently, and I got to meet that family that the had the son the playground was named after. And those type experiences are what you show up to work for. Being able to bridge the gap and bring compassion into situations where residents have not had it in the past necessarily, and turning those experiences around into a positive. That's what excites me.
Yeah, great.
Yep. Yeah, that's good. That's really good, Zach. In the Army, you guys look at it as lifting lives, or it's an empathetic approach that the management and the leaders of Michaels take. And in the Army, we would just say, hey, that's like connected and engaged leadership. So you're connected where you need to be. You're figuring out, you're working through friction points where you need to be, but also you're powering down, and there's more, again, of what we would call sort of mission command of your organization and leaders handling problems and issues at their level to get those resolved more efficiently and quite honestly, just more quickly than they were before. So I think it's just a positive, it's positive momentum that we just got to keep up through 22, which we will. So again, great. We appreciate your time today and appreciate your work. I know you've been personally working, as you noted, but just from my perspective, your personal engagement in many things that we've done on a wide swath of issues have been particularly effective. So we thank you for that. And it's been insightful for us. I hope that the residents gain some useful information out of this. Maybe, some stuff that they didn't know, maybe just reinforcing fires on things that they didn't know. But either way, all good, and appreciate you joining us today. Sergeant Major, any final thoughts?
Yes, sir. Just thanks for the Michaels organization for coming in and taking such a proactive approach, not only on the larger aspects of things, but then into those second and third order items that really address the quality of life on Fort Belvoir. So this truly is a great place to live, work, and play. So thanks to you, Zach, and your organization, and I look forward to working with you over the next year again.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Zach, you just want to talk real quick about, how folks contact you. I think everybody knows, but just to be sure, it hasn't changed, I don't think.
It hasn't. I think that's one of the best things about this transition. You're still dealing with the same team members that have been doing things for you. The method of contact hasn't changed. villages@belvoir.com. The maintenance building's still at 1108. We have 24-hour maintenance request line, 703-619-3880. And the resident portal is still on the Fort Belvoir website, army.mil/Belvoir.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. On a related note, and we mentioned it earlier in the podcast, but the CEL Army Tenant Satisfaction Survey is expected to be out in January. So just a shameless plug, we need residents to go on there and provide their feedback. last year, Michael's scored extremely well in all of the installations that they operate for Fort Belvoir, or all of the RCI locations that they operate for the Army. And so we'd encourage everybody to take that survey. I know most people delete surveys, but this is one that we really need you to take and provide feedback on once you get it. Those results really, just to kind of close that loop, show us trends from last year and should give Army leaders, Army senior leaders, another chance to hear residents' voices. So please fill those out when you get them to all the Fort Belvoir residents and all the podcast listeners. So with that, we come to the end of another podcast. Thank you for joining us. Remember to download the Digital Garrison app and make Fort Belvoir your installation of choice. Connect with us on the Fort Belvoir website, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as COVID is still in the forefront of most people's minds, or at least it's affecting most of our lives on a daily basis, if you haven't gotten vaccinated, it's free and there's plenty of vaccine out there. So you should consider that if you haven't done it yet. And make sure that you wear your mask, physical distance, and wash your hands, which has been sort of helping us get through the pandemic all the way to the point that we are now. And finally, thank you for joining us. And from me to you, and now you know.